केम शो मजामा मैंने यही दो शब्द सीखे हैं गुजराती में बाकी मैं सीख रहा हूँ बट फाइनली वेलकम टू माय टॉक सो आई थिंक बिफोर वी मूव फॉरवर्ड let me give you a quick intro. So I am CEO and co-founder of Stac. We'll get to that in a little bit of time, but it's basically a server-driven UI for Flutter. Uh, Apart from that, I am also a Google developer expert for Flutter and Dart. Like I started Flutter like very early on. When I was a native Android developer, I used to hate cross-platform applications. But then when I saw Flutter, I kind of loved it. I'm also the organizer of Flutter Abu Dhabi and Dubai. So if anyone is coming to UAE, just come and say hi to us. And I'm a big coffee addict. So so more the coffee, more the code, better the coffee, better the code. So before we move to like server-driven UI and dynamic UI, instant app updates, let me give you a quick brief history of apps. So mobile apps have been there since 2008, when App Store and Play Store was first born. Until today in 2005, sorry, not 2005, 2025, the apps have been much more dynamic, much more personalized, and much more smart. But it's not only that, like today we have like more than 3.5 million apps on App Store, 2.5 million apps on Play Store. But one thing which has never changed, like from day one, anyone here who is like very early Android developer, like before 2012, 14, 15? Nice. I think so you guys can tell ki, like even then we used to update the app same way. And even today we are updating the app in the same way. So traditionally what we do is something called client-driven UI. So in client-driven UI, your client drives the UI. So basically you have your app APK, and मेरे ऐप को सब पता है कि भाई किस स्क्रीन पे कौन सा विजिट होगा, what screen have like app bar का क्या टाइटल होगा, everything is hard coded, the UI is hard coded in the app build. And then this build is compiled into APK, IPA file and shipped through Play Store and App Store. And then user updates the app. And in client-driven UI, something like this happens. So let's say I have a screen, like this is a simple e-commerce screen. And any Flutter developer will recognize these widgets, scaffold, container, and all those, list view. But you will have something like this, that you will have a banner, search, categories, and all that. But let's say you ship the app, and 1 week later, your PM comes or manager comes, and they're like, hey, I think the app looks good, but maybe what if we can just swap the banner and search bar? Well, it's इतना टाइम नहीं लगेगा, like एक विजिट को दूसरे विजिट से like ऊपर नीचे शिफ्ट करना है लिस्ट व्यू पे. But still, even though, I think once you do that, you still needs to like develop, build the app, send it to App Store and Play Store, and like you guys know Play Store, App Store के approvals में कितना time लगता है. Like anyone here who was never got rejected from App Store or Play Store? कोई है? You got never rejected? Seriously? क्या? क्या अपलोड ही नहीं किया? मेरा बहुत रिजेक्ट हुआ है, एंड आई थिंक दिस इज व्हाई आई एम गिविंग दिस टॉक टू बी ऑनेस्ट. एंड लाइक किसी का लाइक 2 वीक से ज़्यादा रिजेक्ट हुआ है. ओह नाइस. So on an average, like App Store take like 4-5 days, but even though let's say your App Store release your app, your user doesn't update the app. And I think there's one very big company in India. So what they did was they launched an app, and instead of let's say in pricing, instead of showing some X amount, they by mistake did a typo. अब typo होते रहते हैं. AI तो अब तब था नहीं, तो उन्होंने typo किया, but the problem was typo was in a price. So instead of showing the X amount, they were showing 100X amount. But अब user app update नहीं कर रहे हैं, so they can sue them. So a lot of issue happened. So like I said, your apps will take 2 to 4 weeks, and even when it is out, uh, it takes almost a month to get all the 100% of your users. Forget 100%, like at least 70-80% of the users to like get on your latest release. This is me. Every time I update the app, I'm just waiting for people to update it, App Store to make it live. Uh, so, so once I release the app, my product manager comes and say कि यार हमें वो typo change करना था, वो color change करना था, A/B test करना था, या ये control करना था, या वो control करना होता. तो फिर मेरा भी यही हाल होता है, control होता है control. Because as a mobile developer, we know कि how big hurdle it is to change it. Uh, I think it is also like it blocks your team. So here is a very simple example. Let's say your designer comes and he said like, hey, can we make this button blue? And then you are like, नहीं नहीं अभी तो next week ही जाएगा release में. Or let's say your backend changed the API, and either they can't deploy the API or to a different version, or your app got crashed because of the new version, and a lot of dissimilarities happen with the backend design, product, and development. And also it costs a lot of money. By the way, on average, annually, companies like big companies are spending like 100K dollars because of these slow app releases, because they lose money in resources like redeploying the app, re-updating the app, fixing the rejections. And also, I think this was one case study with the Facebook. So 2019 Facebook ने अपना app update किया, and it was a small bug. Because of that, उनके ads show नहीं हो रहे थे. And Facebook का main model ही revenue पे चलता है. So they lost a lot of money because of that until all users updated it. And that's why today if you see Facebook, Instagram, and all the meta apps are kind of on server-driven UI. So because of all these problems, I just look to the web. And I'm like I get jealous, to be honest. Any web guys here? Yeah, we are jealous of you because you don't have to see those problems of rejection. Like you never deploy and say कि अच्छा यार अब 2 हफ्ते रुकते हैं. उसके बाद Apple वालों का कृपा हुई तो they will release it. So, but the problem is this is the AI era. Like people are building apps in 5 minutes, but still deploying it in 2 weeks. So it's like giving you the superpower, but you can't use it. So what's the point? Well, that's where server-driven UI comes in. So server-driven UI, like I think a lot of awesome folks like you have already used it, tried it. It's basically a way of server to control your UI. And how it do is, like either it's use of JSON, XML, or some language, and your app is more like a simple app renderer. So just like Chrome, in Chrome you don't know, the Chrome doesn't know, or your web browser doesn't know, like in what screen, what UI would be shown. It just knows like what HTML tags they have to render and how they have to render. In server-driven UI, the similar thing happen, and we'll see, like we'll quickly see how. So your server, instead of sending simple data of REST API, it gives you the UI definition, like how your widgets are going to be rendered. So let's again take this example which we were seeing before. We have our e-commerce app and we have our widgets look something like this. And like our data looks something like this. Is it visible? But if not, it's fine, like it's random data. In server-driven UI, what happens is your, let me see if I can make it. Yeah. In server-driven UI, what happens is your server sends a data like this, that your app bar has title, and this language is very similar. Like it depends on whatever language you want to build for your server-driven UI, but this is very similar to Flutter, what we have built. And like app bar, title, text, text field, and all that. And then your app just sees the ID. So let's say app sees ki ID container hai, then it will render the container widget and with all the properties which server sends. So next time you want to update the app, you don't have to wait for like weeks. You just change the settings like a config, and it's like a configuration. So you are sending configuration from the server, and it's getting on the mobile device, and your app is rendering that into a native app. And this is not a web view. This is actual native app running. Uh, yep. So just quickly, what are the advantages of this is like you have a rapid deployment without App Store and Play Store releases. Your app size reduces a lot because you can use the same templates again and again, and all your UI logic is stored on the server. Um, Platform consistency, I think that's a very important point. Like either, let's say if you have an Android and iOS team, they both can be on the same platform. And let's say if we teams are lucky like us who are like building Flutter, so you are already on a cross platform, but still your app updates will ship like at the same time. And not only that, like you not only you save cost and other things, but it also helps in security and maintaining much more of your data and controlling much of your data. Okay. And controlling much of your data. Yeah. By the way, this is not a very new topic. It has been there for like maybe a decade or something. And a lot of the apps which we are already using, like Netflix, Airbnb, Shopify, PhonePe, Meta, Facebook, all of them are already using server-driven UI. Uh, there are limitations to this, just like all good things comes with the pain points. I think the first thing with server-driven UI is you need some language to send the data. So it could be gRPC, it could be protobuf, it could be JSON, it could be XML, it could be anything. Uh, your dependencies goes a lot to the backend team. So now your backend team is controlling what is going on the server, which is good sometimes कि आप उनको blame कर सकते हो इनकी गलती थी. But yeah, on the long run it becomes painful. Uh, Limited flexibility because now you have to build all sort of widgets from like text widget, container, all your design system. You are highly dependent on the network. So these are the few limitations. But I think this surpasses a lot on kind of benefits which we are getting. But to solve these limitations, and I think I've worked in like various companies in India and outside, and I think we built like server-driven UI framework multiple times. And that's when we realized like this is something which all companies needs, and especially e-commerce, fintech, or like any company out there. Uh, and that's why we built Stac. So Stac is basically a server-driven UI framework for Flutter. And it is trying to solve all these problems which server-driven UI has. So it has, so it helps you build real-time UI updates, cross-platform applications because it's built on Flutter. It's open source, it's scalable, and yeah. But the main thing is it uses JSON-driven UI. So one thing is it is good to like it is good in terms of JSON to send the data, but has anyone tried editing JSON? Anyone loves editing JSON? Anyone here? नहीं बहुत hard है. Like if you write JSON editing, you don't get any static checks, you don't get any analytics, nothing. So what we have built is we have built something called Dart, like Stack DSL, which is like a Dart to JSON. You will still write code in Dart and just ship it, which will convert into the JSON file. And another issue with the major SDUIs are you can't have the much more control on your app, like much more teeny tiny control key, what keyboard to open, what actions, navigations, and all those things. And all those supports comes with the stack, like theming, navigation, network calls, etc. So let me like give you a quick demo, I think, because it's been, I don't want to bore you guys after, I think after lunch. So I think we have a documentation. I think it's a great documentation, docs.stack.dev. But so you can go to the quick start and just copy this code to install the. By the way, is it visible to people at the end? Nope or yes? No. Uh, Let me see. What about now? Sorry. What about now? Is it visible? Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I think इससे ज़्यादा मैं zoom नहीं कर पाऊँगा मैं. I might not even able to write after that. Also, feel free to just stop me in between if you have any doubt, or just raise your hand. So let me just remove all these changes. Any cursor fan here? Anyone here who's not using AI for like coding? I'm just curious. Bad luck. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this quickly and oops, I think I copied the wrong command. So I think leave this, I'll probably show it on my real phone. So basically what you need to do is, let me set this up, yeah. So I'll just paste the link, it will install the Stack CLI. So Stack CLI helps you in 2-3 things. First, it helps you build your Dart code into JSON and deploy it directly. So what you have to do is just write the Dart and do the Stack deploy. So it's installed. I can do Stack login. It just takes me to Chrome. I'll just log in with my account. Yep. After the Stack login, I'll just do, so in your project, you need to do something called Stack init. So Stack init will basically help you initialize the whole Stack project. So you don't have to do it manually. So either you can create a new project, choose an existing one. For this project, we just choose a existing project, Stack demo. And then it will ask you whether you want to initialize these dependencies or not. I'll just select yes. Yep. So what it has done is it has done 3 things. First, it has added my dependencies to pubspec.yaml. Second, it created a default stack option file. It's basically a stack option file to recognize for what project, and just like a metadata for your project. And I think the important key point here is there is a stack folder here which contains all your stack screens. So these are basically the server-driven UI screens. And like I said, this we wanted to remove these dependencies on the backend or the JSON or UI, so that you don't have to, or your backend folks don't have to go and change the UI every time. Okay, because any backend people here? Sorry to say, but you guys don't know how to build UI. It happened with me. So we were working. I was working in a very big company. We had million+ downloads, but our server-driven UI was kind of dependent on them because they were the end people who were shipping it from like Java, Kotlin, or whatever language, and to send the data. But it always failed somewhere because of those small nuances. So our project is live. It created a basic hello world screen, and then in the main file what I need to do is I'll just do await, stack initialize, and default stack options, which are init file created. And it's something very like similar to any other initialization we'll see on Flutter. And yep, and now so our initialization is done. Now how do I render those hello world screen? To do that, it's very simple, just single line. I just call the stack widget, and I'll just pass the route name as hello world. That's it. So let me see and run the app. Maybe I'll just refresh it. Yep, I think it's working. But somehow I started another build. Anyway, we'll check that later. So now let's say our manager comes and he say, fine, I need, let's say Paresh come and he's like, I don't want hello world. I want hello GDG. And color, let's say change color to something like some amber color or green color, whatever. And this device is, or this app is also running on my phone. So I don't know if it's visible, but I'll just change the color. So I'll just change color and text. And the next thing which I will do is stack deploy. So it will take few seconds to build the JSON and deploy it, and that's it. With just few clicks, your app is updated. So next time I just rerun the screen, my app gets updated. Same here, if I just rerun the screen, my app gets updated. Now this was a very simple hello world kind of application, and let's deep dive into more. But Stack works like everywhere. So it can be a single screen, it can be a single component, or it can be your like whole application. So that depends on like you, how do you want to use it. So I think currently Vodafone app in Europe, so they are using Stack, like they have 10 million plus monthly active users, I guess. I think other companies like Slido, Job Hunt, etc. So Job Hunt is kind of using it in a unique way where they are showing dynamic banners with Stack. Now let's take some real world example here. So I'll just move my phone device. I just realized I could have opened two simulators. Yep. Array. Yeah. So this is my like basic login application, and let's say your PM comes and he's like, hey, we need to change the login form. And how do you do that? So that's very simple. Let's say I'll go to my login page, and it's so most let me close this. Yeah. And let me find this email field. And let's say I don't want this to be email, I want to change this form to be number field. And I can also control what kind of keyboard, what kind of field. It's basically a Flutter, just like how you were writing widgets in Flutter, you're just writing it in Stack. So instead of email address, I'll just do, let's say, number, for example. And again, I'll do Stack deploy, and it will build and deploy it. And you can have very fine control, like what kind of interaction you are doing, what kind of widgets you are rendering, what kind of keyboard you are opening. Yep, it's deployed. So I just rerun it, but you don't have to rerun it, just close the or reopen the screen. So when I click on email, instead of showing the email keyboard, I see a number keyboard. And then you can control, let's say your PM comes again after a week and he's like, hey, we want to change the navigation for the project. So that's also pretty easy. You go. So for example, I'll go to my product screen here, and I'll find my, let's say here it says Ahmedabad, but let's say I call it card, and it happens like our flows changes for our projects. Like, and not only it changes for all the users, you can also have it personalized. So let's say you want your app or your navigation for certain set of people to be different, and certain set of people to be different. Let's say you are doing an onboarding screen, and people in India might put Aadhaar card in KYC, people in UAE might put Emirates ID, people in USA might put SSN number. So all that you can personalize for different use cases. And that's why you might have seen कि Instagram also shows different tabs, different UI for different people, and same with the Netflix, same with Airbnb. So for example, here right now if I click on Ahmedabad, nothing happens. So, and what I'll do is I'll change the stack text to as cart, and yeah. So what I'll do is, and I change the and say that navigate into the cart screen. And so Stack support a lot of widgets and lot of so it support, like it has around 80 plus 90 plus widget, like all them of material widgets. So like we are bringing some Kubernetes support as well, and then on top of that we are building a library for the actions. But it's not limited there. You can build your own. We'll come to that. So what I'll do is I'll just again deploy. Yep. It's deployed. I think this project has a lot of files, so it takes a bit more than a second to deploy it. So once it's deployed, I won't even rerun the app. I'll just go back and I'll click on sign in again. And now I see card. So hopefully it works. Yeah. So now when I click on card, it goes to the card. And similarly, not only that, like not only you can control the navigation, you can also control the network APIs, and that's very simple. You just call, just like we have the navigation action, we also have something called network action, which basically network request. So whatever network request you have to do, you can define it server side, and this basically means that anytime your backend updates, you don't have to like redeploy your app or wait for users to be on the latest update to be either more secure or bug free or for the new features. So similarly, if I just go and change the network request, deploy it, it will deploy to you. Now, what if some widget or some action is not supported in Stack? And I think that is something which everyone might be thinking. Or what if you want to use some other library or other plugin for your project? That's where, okay, we talked about API calls, and that's where like custom parser comes in. So in custom parser, it's just like how you build custom widgets in Flutter. Instead of like extending it with widget, you extend it with the stack widget, and then you define a stack parser. The server-driven UI has three main components. So I think the first one is type. So type is a unique identifier for your widget, like so that your framework and the renderer know which widget to be rendered. I think another is the model one, which basically define like a contract, like what kind of things which you can control. And lastly, the widget. So now this widget section, you can do anything. You can build whatever widget you want to कोई भी library integration हो, network call, API call, any action, anything, it works. So the possibilities are basically limitless. You need to go and go and build whatever you find. I've seen people building a lot of different things with Stack. I think the one unique thing which I found was there was this guy, he didn't know Dart, but he can understand JSON easily. So he was building UI with JSON because it was very easy for him. I won't suggest that, but yeah, that's one of the cases. That's it. If you want, you can just go to the GitHub. It's open source, so you can just go try it out, read our docs, or we have a great Discord community, so you can also come and join there. And in case if you have any questions, or by the way, we are also going to give DevFest discount. So we also have a Stack Cloud and Pro plan. I didn't want to go deep dive into there, but if you guys want the discount, we're giving 6 months free, like totally free, no nothing needed. So just ping me and I'll send you the coupon code. That's it. Thank you so much. Yep. Question.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
This server-driven UI impact our performance, our application performance or not? Like we are hard-coded compared to the server-driven UI. So
there are two performance, है ना? एक तो है network से, because you are fetching the data, so there will be a network lag, right? Not and then comes to the performance of your widget or your app. So your app performance won't reduce because this is these are the actual Flutter widgets which are rendered, but there would be a network overload, you can say. But we are also working on that. We are working on caching to reduce it. Or there's already a way. So we are using DIO. So you can go and add a DIO cache interceptor, which will cache your JSONs and data. But yeah, so there of course would be a network overload. I won't suggest you to use on an application which is like very offline first. Let's say जैसे note app हो गया या कोई to do app हो गया, it doesn't make sense there. But application which have to be dynamic, जैसे e-commerce, fintech or some other application which have to be dynamic and which can be which doesn't have to be offline first or doesn't have to depend on the network. So yeah, but your app wise it would be like pure Flutter, so it's the same performance. Any other question? Yeah, please.
Hello, sir. So,
Yes.
is it supporting adding dependency as well?
Yes, so just like I showed this custom widget, so here you can add your own like whatever dependency. Let's say you are using block, riverpod, or let's say some other library. You can just like define a custom parser, and how it works is, so for example, here if I go to my main.dart and just how we were initializing Stac, you can define parser. So here I defined a movie carousel parser, and you can define your action parser. So in short, yes, you can have any dependencies to work with it. Yep, please. I think, yeah.
Yeah. So my question is am I implement this stack in my existing code? So like I have to update all the widgets with stack widget.
Not all the widgets. So I would, the answer is yes, you need to change those widgets to the Stack widget. But that's pretty easy because you can just need to add Stack in front of them, and of course some things changes. But what I would suggest is, and of course you need to move them into the Stack folder, but that's pretty easy to do. Also I would suggest not to like change whole app at once, like migrate maybe screen by screen, or not all screen have to be on Stack. Like maybe let's say you have a form which has to be dynamic, and your other application could be purely client-driven UI.
Hello.
Yes.
So if my app is using platform channel to call some UI,
Yes.
so is that supported by Stack?
Yeah, even if you're using platform channel with the so it's not supported by default, but just like I showed you, you can create custom parser and you can just call the platform channel APIs.
Hi. So I have a question about
Yeah.
this navigation.
Yes.
So basically, there are some functionalities like which we use, like deep linking with notification. We use navigation.
Yes.
So we have navigation implemented in this. Are they both interoperable?
They are?
They are compatible. Like
You
this
mean
navigation.
compatible with what? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
So basically, what happens is like when the app is killed, and we are using Go routers.
Yes.
navigation.
Yes.
So can we use the Go router for the navigation in the with the widgets? You have shown an example.
Yes, yes, yes. Of course. So we are working on our integration. So I'm also in talks with the Flutter team. So we are in talks with integrating the libraries like directly, so that you don't have to write any custom widgets or custom actions. But right now you can't use Go directly. The only way you have to do is, so for example, Vodafone team, they are using Go router. And so how they are doing it is, they created their design system and all the actions, and then they're calling the action. So for example, you can create an action called stack, or let's say stack go navigation, and define Go router there, and then you can just use it. So it's just like a template builder. You're just building a template and just using it via stack. So all those stack, Dart2JSON and all that will still work. You don't have to make any changes there. You just need to write the parsers for that. That is like, just like how we create the Go router in our custom classes, like custom Go router or app router page, similarly to that.
Hello.
That's
so my question is,
where are you? Okay. Sorry.
So doesn't this make your app more bulkier than it used to be? For like we are using a lot of your boilerplate codes.
No, it actually reduces your app size because, for example, let's say you have your onboarding screen where you have 10 forms, right? Like 10 different forms, for example, and all those 10 different forms will have all those widgets, which will be in each classes. So in each class you will call container and this and that, and so there will be a lot of instances, a lot of code which is being compiled into your app, and which increases your app size. This actually reduces your app size because there is only one container widget which is being kind of rendered via server using the UI which you are giving. So yeah, it on contrary, it kind of reduces your app size by a lot.
Yeah, but that's just one case. Like if I have 10 forms in just normal app, doesn't this add a lot of dependencies? Like there's boilerplate codes.
Boilerplate code for
Like
dependencies, you mean for custom widgets?
yeah, so like as I can see, stake, center, stake, text. So those are just your.
The stack, so that is not going to be compiled in your application. So that's why it's outside of your lib folder. So the folder in the stack and all this is more like you're writing it and then you're deploying to the server. So that is not going to be compiled. I think the stack, the core stack widgets, they're like, let's say 70, 80 widgets, which are kind of part of your framework. That is there, and I think framework size is like 300 KB or something. But that is going to reduce like all the lot of other KBs from your like client-driven UI part. And of course, it also depends how you use it. Like you said, if you create a lot of custom widget, custom parser, then it will reach you at the level of when you are doing client-driven UI. Because even in client-driven UI, you create new widgets for each. So it would be either similar or it will reduce, but depends on the implementation part.
Okay, and last question is, does this support native like updates? Like if I'm using netting channel, native platform code, like multi-platforming. So does that support also?
Yeah, it does via custom widgets and action. Yeah, I think someone asked that, right? Yeah, so it supports like, but not by default. You need to, just like in method channels, you create classes which call method channel. You would be calling that via this. So for example, you have this custom parser, and in the widget or parse method, you call that method channel from the parse method, and then define it in the main.dart, and then from the server you can say that, hey, render this. For example, let's say you name it camera widget, which is calling some native APIs. Then you can just say that, okay, render camera widget, which calls this parser, and then this parser will call your native APIs.
pass it over.
Hello.
Hello.
Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So there is one platform available called Shorebird, right?
Yes.
Which provides similar functionality, right? So
Yes.
what's the major difference between those two?
Okay, I think that's a very good question. I was hoping someone's going to ask that. So, I think great question, by the way. Can we have a clap for him? Yeah. So basically, Shorebird, both are trying to solve similar problem, but on a very different technology, a very different way. So Shorebird uses this OTA updates over the air updates. In that, what happens? Let's say you make any changes to the Dart code, and I think that only works on the pure Dart code, and it compiles it into the it makes a patch, send it and deploy it to the server, and then when your user open the app on background, installs it, and next time you open it will show him the update. This stack, on the other hand, uses the server-driven UI technology, where it just, instead of compiling the app and sending the bundle, it just controls the UI via the server, like we saw. What are the few major difference? I think Shorebird has less complexity. This is a bit more complex in terms of you need to have your stack folder, you need to have and we if you are not using Stack and you are using server-driven UI. By the way, if you see any big app in India or US, they all are built with server-driven UI. Zomato, Swiggy, all are using server-driven UI. But yeah, like I was saying, you need to have a lot of complexities. With Stack, we have tried to reduce a lot. For example, Dart to JSON and deployment and all that. You don't need to set up servers and all that. But I think the one thing is Shorebird is a bit simple. You don't have to do any extra thing. But on the other hand, it works on purely Dart. Like you can't do any native changes, images, APIs, plugins, and all that. They have some limitations there. Secondary, it is the code which is going, and you don't have the you can't do personalized UI. So let's say we're in application where you have to do personalized UI, show different UI screen for different people, or work on A/B testing, right? Shorebird is not for that. For that, you have to use something like server-driven UI, and yeah. So that is the major difference. Like both are trying to solve similar problem initially, but when you go deeper, you'll realize it is way different from each other. So yeah, there are a lot of difference. I don't want to go into detail of each of one of them, but you need to find what is at the end both are tools for you, and you need to find what tools fits best for you. Do you want dynamic control, personalized UI, and all that? You want something like Stack. If you want something like Dart code to be bundled and sent over the air updates, you can use Shorebird. I know someone who's using kind of both. So yeah, but Shorebird is also what I've seen in two scenarios. Shorebird is, I think, bit expensive for people. It is amazing tool. Eric is my good friend. I have nothing against them, but it is very expensive in terms of if I have 2 million users for each patch, I will spend a lot. And I think secondly, a lot of fintech companies doesn't want to send their data to cloud. So that's all the things, but it is very fast and simple to implement. I think that's something I love about Shorebird. So yeah. That's it. Okay.
I have a very simple questions. I have used this in 3 screens. Let's take a screen 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
So how it's rendering the updated data? It's rendering all 3 screens data at the once, or only load the data when I go to the particular screens?
It only loads the data when you go to the particular screen.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's it, guys. I hope you love the talk, and if you have any more questions, just reach out to me on LinkedIn and Twitter. And thank you. Bye-bye.